The clock is ticking. What are you going to do about it? Hi, I'm Danny DeHeck. I'm a bit on fire today, so you're probably going to get an interesting video. Just before I went live, I started singing a song that got in my head, and it's called Daddy Cool, and it's so cool. He's crazy like a fool. He's crazy like a fool. You have to go listen to it. I put it in the chat room. I can't play it because of copyright issues, but look at this guy. Cool. That could be me, Danny Cool. You got to ask the question, why do I do what I do? Why do I do this? I get all sorts of stuff coming in on my desk, but today, while I was preparing for this blog that's going to shatter your life, I had another Calendar appointment come in from an investor. They bypassed the part where it said donate a koha invest donation to me. That's fine. I'm not here for the money. Did you know the last donation I got was somebody bought me 25 coffees? Now that's $250 US. That was enough to pay my car registration for a year and my Warren Fitness. Thank you very much. That donation was done over 10 days ago. That's the only donation I have received since then. And thank you. And do you know where that money came from? It came from one of my Avengers who realized the hard work that myself and my Avengers put into going after Goliath Ventures. Yesterday, before I went to bed, I received a copy of an email that looked so unprofessional, I did not believe it was real. I even wrote to the lawyer who sent the email asking for verification whether it was true and genuine. A defense lawyer has now stepped in and started doing communications for Goliath Ventures Inc. Now, this is a massive breakdown video. It's going to get you up to speed with some of the happenings that's happened. But while I'm preparing for this, while I had my mojo going, I got interrupted and I suddenly realized that it's such a sad affair. The amount of people. One of my Avengers said to me, "Isn't it so sad?" Another person has overcommitted themselves, invested money that they really can't afford to lose. I don't know anyone that can afford to lose their money, and given it to Goliath Ventures. So it's not speculation, not theory, another real person face to face trying to understand how their money disappeared and why no one is answering the simplest questions. While I was taking the call, I blurted out, "Did you get the email from Eric?" They said, "Yes, I did." I said, "Sorry to hear that." Sadly, asking if there's any point going after the money. Has it all gone? Getting desperate if you're asking Danny DeHeck for help. I hope not. We are here and we've got some good solutions that you really need to act on fast. The clock is ticking. You need to do something. Stop. Wake up. Get help. Go get support. Stop talking to family who may have invested in Goliath Ventures and start talking to people outside Goliath Ventures and ask them, is this normal for a company that's doing the best they've ever done? Because right now, the big question is, right now, nobody is getting paid. Nobody is getting paid from Goliath Ventures. However, just going to take a slurp of coffee here. Some people have just bought new Ferraris. Some people are traveling around the world like they're millionaires. How's that? No one's getting paid since October. I'll say it slowly. November. Not in December. And instead of money, they're getting transparency. Instead of showing where investors' funds actually are, people are receiving newsletters signed off by a defense lawyer, Eric Clayman. Now, I've invited Eric to come on the show just before we went live. Emailed him last night, asked him to verify whether the letter that was sent out with his letterhead, not Goliath's letterhead, his letterhead, was really him. And I've got crickets. And I'll explain more about that. And also, just before I went live, I thought, what the heck? Why don't we invite him and the other Goliath Ventures lawyers on the show? Because I'm surely a defense lawyer is not a coward. And I'm sure he can click that button and come on and we may be interrupted any minute by Eric Clayman. Now, I am saying Clayman, right? That's the first time ever I've said somebody's last name correct.
Clayman.
I did. Someone who isn't even listed anywhere on Goliath Ventures' website as management, operations, or leadership. All of a sudden, you're receiving leadership emails from a lawyer that has no association with Goliath Ventures that you know of, unless I'm missing something. All right, let's be clear about what that means. This is not reassurance. Things are not okay. This isn't progress. Oh my God, we got an email from a defense lawyer who is representing Goliath Ventures Inc. Oh my God, that's progress. Let's just forget about all the money that hasn't paid for the last 3 or 4 months. This is actually desperation. Yes, times are getting hard. When a company can't pay, it doesn't suddenly find money. It sends words. It sends progress. It sends legal paraphernalia in the hope that people stop asking questions that matter. Where is the money? Jeremy Maguire, show me the money. This is what you should be talking to your partners who are now created their own company to shield Goliath Ventures from getting into legal trouble. Every day, investors are still searching out to me with disbelief. And today, another investor came forward, as I said, over $200,000 gone. Families are under pressure. Are you under pressure? You know, notice I didn't mention the person's name. Notice I didn't mention where the country they were from. You know, that's what we're doing here, guys. We're working for investors. We want you to come forward. Now, this is one of the most important videos that you can watch. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you access to a document where you can help yourself. And we can do something about it. Trust has been shattered. And while that happens, the people who actually took the money are silent. Why aren't the people, the leaders, corresponding with you? Why have we got this new guy, a defense attorney, for God's sake, reaching out? We've got a few videos of him coming up too. While a lawyer is pushed forward, you go forward, you say something to them, and to explain why you just need to wait. Every single Ponzi scheme and scam that I go after, the waiting game always happens when the exit strategy is employed. So tonight, and you're tonight, it's my morning, it's my afternoon, it's 1 o'clock here in New Zealand. We're not admiring the lovely email. It was disgusting and not on a Goliath Ventures letterhead. We're not debating the tone of the email. We're not going to give credit for the wording because it was shit. We're breaking it down to expose what it does not say. Like all their stupid emails that they send out to their investors don't say what people want to hear. What it can't explain, and why the sudden appearance of a defense lawyer in an investor's newsletter tells you everything you need to know. Because, I've got to find it. Hopefully it will work. Give me a minute. It's going to blow your eardrums. So if you're wearing headphones, I would recommend that you put them into silent. But my mum, my dear mum that I love to pieces, used to always say this. Sometimes my audio doesn't play that sound very well, so I'm going to do it twice. No one is talking about the elephant in the room, and it hasn't moved. No one's getting paid. And that's where we start today. First of all, let me have another slurp of coffee. Let me show you the defense lawyer. Now, he has got his own YouTube channel, but it was more fun just searching for Eric Clayman's name and finding that he has been featured in this other lawyers whose shirts seem to be the same size as Christopher's, just saying. But this is really funny. I just want you to get a caliber of the guy that's now representing, well, seems to be representing, unless he hacked into their MailChimp newsletter. But you've got to listen to this. Now, there is a bit of background music in this, and I'll probably get done for sound. So if all of a sudden you find this video has no sound, that will be why. But here,
my name is Eric Klayman. I'm a criminal defense attorney, and I've been practicing here in South Florida for about 18 years. I'm an attorney that will not quit, and I will fight for you until the end, and I mean fight. I will take your depots, I will argue your motions, and I will try any case that you want to trust me with to put in front of a jury. That is why I get the results that I get. I win far more often than I lose. Of course, there are losses, but if you simply just want to lay up and take a plea, no need to hire me or any other lawyer. Go to the public defender's office and do that for free.
We take every case as if it's a case against our family, our friends, or ourselves. Eric has personally represented me in criminal matters.
How about this? So you dig a little bit deeper as you do, and I'm going to bring this back. But theoretically, a defense lawyer will find a loophole, in my opinion, to get out of anything that you have done. And if somebody hasn't crossed a T or dotted an I, so let's just say I got done for DIC. I'm just saying that's what could happen. And then all of a sudden I find out that the person that was processing me did something wrong. Maybe they didn't have the calibration of the machine correct. I don't know. But that's what Eric does. He looks for those little wee tiny details and then gets it thrown out of court. Now he's sending emails on behalf of Goliath. And here's an example of something he's done for this guy. Let's have a listen. You ready? Oops, hold it.
Guys, this is attorney Jabril Hindi, and as we know, nobody is perfect. Here is a funny story. My first year of law school, everything's going great. I get accepted to law school, but of course, things happen. I was charged with a DUI. Devastating point in my life.
He wasn't drinking.
But thank God I was smart enough to take it serious and to make sure that I got the best representation possible. Eric Klayman does DUI cases. Eric, tell the people, what should they do when they're charged with a DUI?
So if you're actually charged with a DUI and we're at the point where you've already been charged, the first thing that you need to do is just contact your lawyer and go from there. The DUI is, if you know what you're doing as a defense attorney, is an absolute dream case. There is so much subjective hunch work that's done in getting someone convicted for a DUI. It makes it very easy for someone like me that has experience with it to just blow up that lead officer that believes that they have their DUI. Because at the end of the day, unless you've given blood, and I'll get into on another video what's required to get blood, it's just guesswork. The cop thinks they'll have the same trifecta on every single police report out there. There's bloodshot watery eyes, a flushed face, and slurred speech. It's in everything. It's so common, it's gimmicky, and it's funny. And I use that to my advantage every time that I'm in trial. First thing you do when you get a DUI is within 10 days, you contact the DMV and you go get your hardship license so you can at least drive while you're on your first part of your suspension. The next thing that you do is you acquire your lawyer, you keep your mouth shut, don't drive until you have a valid driver's license or a hardship, and you go from there.
If you've been charged with a crime or you've been charged with a DUI, reach out to us. Use the lawyer that I use. Click the link below, fill out the form, we'll be in touch.
Oh my God, it's so funny. But anyway, I don't know who this lawyer is. And but what I have noticed is something really interesting is Eric, his offices are 4 units down from the other lawyers which have been corresponding with me trying to form a lawsuit against me. Now, just for the record, yesterday's video, I made it very clear there's no lawsuit against Danny DeHeck, okay? Because I live in New Zealand and they have no jurisdiction over me whatsoever. Now, unless they go to the New Zealand High Court, which is extremely different, and it has happened in the past, and I had one, there's no lawsuit. However, the lawyers that have filed a case in Orange County courts, ironically, are only 4 doors down from the acting, what do they call him? Criminal lawyer, this guy here. 4 doors down from the other lawyers that Goliath are using to try to form some sort of court case against me in Florida. Now remember, the real funny thing about this is Goliath Ventures Inc. closed their company down in Florida on the 3rd of September. So they don't actually have an operating company in Florida. And what they did instead is they bounced into another state called Wyoming. Now, Wyoming, they don't have any offices there, but they've decided to move the offices to Wyoming because Wyoming, every scam I go after, are always trying to get a company set up in Wyoming. It just means absolutely nothing. It's an avoidance technique so they're not liable. But if you've got a contract that hasn't got the new Goliath Ventures Inc. From Wyoming signed off, then your contracts are void. They don't mean shit. And no doubt a criminal lawyer like Eric will be able to help Goliath get out of that contract. So you need to do something about it because this guy's serious. He's real big when it comes to fighting criminals. That's what he does. And he's obviously just a stone throw from the other lawyers. Maybe they're all in the same building. Maybe this guy is an investor. I don't know. I'm just, just putting one and one together. So first of all, we got quite a few people 24 hours ago giving me a copy of Eric's email that he sent on behalf of Goliath when we didn't even know that Eric was involved. And this time they're getting clever. They said, access shared document. So they don't want this email being given to the wrong party. Oops. So we got access to it and we go here and we can actually see a couple of really interesting things that we do. We're awesome, open source intelligent investigators. This mailing list that you're looking at here are all the letters sent out to investors. The last 3 newsletters that we received from Goliath Ventures were inconsistent in their text. The layout was all different. The fonts were different. Their logos were in different shaped. They were signed off different because they had actually set up a new MailChimp newsletter. This mailing list here, if I click on join the mailing list, it tells us that this is old and it doesn't work anymore. Now, I'm not a MailChimp user, so I don't know whether there's a limit to how many emails you can do in your company emails. But what's ironic, the last email that was sent from this mailing list was on the 11th month. All right, so that's, I don't know the months of the year. You think I'm kidding, but I don't. So that's a long time ago, 2 months ago. All right, and navigating our commitment to stability in a dynamic DeFi landscape. This is where they were telling you that they were moving banks because the Bank of America couldn't sustain the growth of Goliath Ventures. I mean, you can't make this shit up, guys. But anyway, Eric or somebody has managed to hack in to their mailing list, and maybe he's doing an advert for himself and send out a newsletter. Now, if I click on that link, it's going to tell me I don't have access and I'm going to get this. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to get this. However, if I want to, I can go back and read previous newsletters. Now, if you're curious and you want to have a read of previous newsletters, in the live chat of this meeting, I'm actually going to put the link to this newsletter area and you can go in there and read. You will be able to read. But what I did is I have got the blog and we've gone and got Eric's newsletter and I've put it in. Now, there's so many things I could go on about. For a start, here's a newsletter sent out to the mailing list of Goliath Ventures investors. First of all, it's blurry because he hasn't formatted it properly and he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. There's a lot of things you could look at here. For example, it's publicly listed his phone number. His email address is Eric, claymanlawfirm.com. And in here, he's talking about MSB, which we're going to break down in this video. If you think an MSB is an excuse, they're claiming that it takes 90 days to get themselves a money services license. And that's just so much bullshit. Money services business. And you can't even, I've got some really interesting facts about why this is so wrong to be telling people. And there's no guarantee that at the 90-day threshold that things are going to be working. In this letter, there's no explanation of what and where your money is. We went back to other newsletters that were mentioned in here, and we can see that Christopher, there was one in October, the financial audit email, and in here, they talk about how that they had an audit done by Matt Burks, and I know that might be funny for people that have been following, but when he did the audit, he claimed that 115% or more of partner balances at all times were, secured. So for them to publish letters like this in the past, telling people that your money is secured by what they called at the time an independent audit. Look at this. Money services. Hold it. On August, I didn't even read this before. This could be interesting. On August the 12th, 2025, Black Block Managers Services. Oh, no, it's different. All of a sudden, I thought they were telling people they had So Black Block is now merged into Goliath. Look, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole here. I'm sure you would like my breakdown. First of all, there is a couple of other things I will show you. What is MSB? Here's a warning on FinCEN's website, basically telling you how companies are using MSB approvals as a way to defraud people, and it's putting out warnings on their own website what that actually means, and we'll go into that. So as they say, without further ado, oh look, there I am clicking my fingers. Stop it, Danny. We're going to get into this email and break it down. Now there's lots of messages in the chat room. I'm trying to stay focused on delivery at the moment, so I really appreciate my Avengers. If you go to deheck.com, you'll see that this is part of a series of blogs that we've done, and I will do this. And also do remember, as I said, I don't get donations for doing this, and people think that I'm available for hire free of charge. That's okay if you need help. I realize that. But if you go to deheck.com, which is my website, you can click on Goliath Ventures. And what I've been doing recently is just doing videos without blogs. So you'll see that I've updated the blogs. That's Christopher. That was Christopher before he had... done. Leave it to your imagination. And here's Christopher claiming that they spent $8.5 million in buying a building. They're building this new headquarters. And there's a video about how nothing's happened except they've stripped the building and left it empty. Here's a video about how people's accounts are now being blocked. As soon as you put money, tell them that you want to exit, your account is deleted. You have no access to it. And yesterday's video, well, everyone liked this one. This is a pink flamingo, and there's Christopher. The floodgates are opening, and we are now getting inundated by people who are reaching out to us, asking for help and direction. And I'm happy to say we have actually started putting together numerous cases of people that I can put together a nice A4. If I can get access to your back end of your Goliath account and do a video so I can give it off to the people in charge, that would be useful. If you're doing that and you trust us, that's great. There's nothing you can do in the back end of the investment portfolio. You can't withdraw money. You can't do anything. In fact, you can't do anything unless you go to the person that has established their own company under the umbrella of Goliath Ventures. Do you understand what that actually means, guys? So Goliath Ventures, February video that we actually have, I mean, you've got to really understand how shady this company is. Just because Christopher's wearing a suit and he's got his wee lapel on his thing doesn't mean these guys have been doing good business. Now, I have to show you this video, because if you haven't seen this video, it's this video that I uploaded a month ago. Now, I've had 10 copyright strikes against my YouTube channel. They've been trying to remove this video. So watch it before it gets removed. Every single time I go back and I win the case with Google, saying that I have a right to do this, and it's ridiculous. But what I really, really want you guys to see is the people that you're dealing with is no longer Goliath. You're dealing with the individual they're scribing people from the website. So let's just go back a bit. So first of all, our team. Most of the people here, Alex is the only person theoretically still involved with the company. We heard rumors that we can't verify, and I'll tell you what they are, but we heard that Christopher sent out a message to everybody that's involved in Goliath Ventures and fired everybody. That's what I got told, and this makes a lot of sense, even though I can't verify it. So I'm going to tell you what I know. I'm going to be transparent with you. The only person in the company now is Alec, who's now driving around in a brand new Lamborghini. Yes, isn't that crazy? A fitness instructor can afford to buy a Lamborghini. Ooh, isn't he lucky? Must be really good at pumping something. Anyway, Nick, Nick, we thought we could have turned Nick at one stage. We thought Nick might be the main whistleblower helping us with information. Nick's decided to, let's just say, huddle. And we've heard that Matthew's gone. Matt Burks is gone. He's now working for Onyx Reserve. And we're not sure of that either, because we've wrote Onyx Reserve have written to us, said that we didn't realize Matt Burks was Matt Burks. Now, his church has removed him from his website. He was meant to be one of the head pastors. I don't know if it's a pastor, parish, guy in charge. We showed a video yesterday. So Matt Burke's gone. Matthew's gone. David Blanzy, don't know. Well, do they need a travel director anymore? I don't know. I've never seen her. I don't know why she's there. Stephen Davis, well, he's a fireman. He's a hero. He's wrote a book. He's had 7 reviews. 2 of them are bad, but that's okay. Not everyone gets their first book off the ground. Now, he's a fireman, 2 decades. He's encouraged people in his whānau now, that's what we call family in New Zealand, to actually invest in Goliath Ventures. I have heard shocking reports. I've got people that are coming forward now who have mortgaged their houses because Stephen Davis said to them, this is a sure thing, I'm invested. I wouldn't invest in this if I thought it was a scam. But people have done that. He even wrote a beautiful article about himself in the Insider magazine and claimed it was, look at me, I'm in the New York Times. Oh no, that was me. I was in the New York Times. I was in the New York Times, 2-page spread in the printed edition, for God's sake. Got interviewed by a reporter, David, and over 4 interviews on Zoom. He wanted to know about my story and they published it. That's what happens when you're in the real news. But Stephen Davis was in the Business Insider magazine as a sponsored article claiming how wonderful he was. What a good guy he was. All this lovely stuff you'd expect to hear about the brotherhood. Anyway, I wrote to the Business Insider and said, do you realise he's involved with Goliath Ventures? They took the article off. Yeah. And then they put it back. I went, oh. So I wrote to them again. Are you kidding me? And then they took it off and it's gone for good. So it's quite good. So anyway, Stephen Davis, have you heard anything about him? Where is he? Where's he gone? All the people that invested have to go and report back to one of these people you see on the screen. James. Well, James, what did he do? Well, he reached out to his family and he got every person in his family a passport because they were off. Where they were going off to? Telling friends that they were potentially going on a cruise. All right, Hunter Smallback, mother. Mother was responsible, I think, for organising the fit out of the new $8.5 million building. She's disgusted with Christopher now. And Hunter, well, he's probably gone back to fishing. I don't know. I haven't heard from him. Have you heard from him? Love to know. Everyone's crickets now. This company's meant to be doing the best it's ever done ever. And now we're getting crickets from everybody. And you guys are waiting for what? This video, I'll teach you what you need to do, and you need to act fast. Your money, I can't promise you where the money is. I do know we've been privileged to helping banks close and freeze bank accounts, and that's been a privilege of mine. Bank of America have closed 2 accounts because of my doing, theoretically, because me showing them what we know about this company. They are the ones that have frozen the accounts. I've just provided them some great red flags, and they've looked at them and verified it and frozen these accounts. The last one we froze was an investor who put $250,000 into it a day before they reached out to me. And I said, give me the bank account number. We need to act fast. They hesitated. We used the payslip. They were getting paid from Wises. I call it Wises Bank, but apparently Wises is not a bank. But you can get a bank account number where people can deposit money. And this is how they've been paying people. And this is why it's important for people that reach out to us that want to provide us some information, a little bit of information. Just give us the lot. We need all the information, all the leads, we've got a jigsaw puzzle that is bigger than a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. We didn't have the box at the start, and we've been doing the bits along the way. And all of a sudden, the picture is very clear. Any little detail that you think's not relevant, like a crypto address you might have put money into, or another bank account, we want to know about it because it helps us complete the jigsaw puzzle. We're putting information together in packages about individuals. We're giving them to the head investigator for Goliath Ventures. Now, 6 government agencies are involved in this investigation. Now, they don't get out of bed in their undies and put together a blog like I did this morning. They don't do that sort of stuff. They don't work as fast. They have to work and make sure they get everything correct. All we can do is present your evidence in a clear, logical manner where we can get shit done. Help us, help you. I'm not here. Like I said at the start here, I don't get one donation of 25 coffees. Friggin' fantastic. Paid my car registration and my warrant for a year. Thank you very much to one of my Avengers. That's the only donation I've received since then. That was 10 plus days ago. Not here for the money. Okay, I work for free. I'm here for the goodness of mankind. I should get a Nobel Prize. I know that's Donald Trump. Anyway, let's not go there. Anyway, so Hunter Smallback, where's he? Good to know. Mike, well, Mike's bought himself a new Ferrari. He's meant to be, I heard he's on the way to Dubai. That's what I heard. Tomo, well, business is normal. Still doing rejuvenile stuff. Looked at some of his videos a couple of days ago. He was interviewing 8 months ago. He was interviewing a 23-year-old FBI agent called Tom Simons. Simons? Yeah, Simons, I've got a picture of that in my head. Simons? I might be saying that wrong, but I think it's Simons. And he'd been a FBI agent for 23 years, and now he's a YouTuber. Anyway, and he's got a lot of fake traffic, just saying. But anyway, he was interviewed, and it was like Tomo was trying to bleed his brain to see how to evade the law. That's all I'm going to say. It was interesting. I mentioned in the video the other day, I'm not going to go there again. This guy here, we are getting a lot of people who have invested with this guy here. These guys are not involved. Casey Holliday, gone. Marty, I can't even say his last name. The reason I don't read these names out, I can't do it. So all these people here don't exist. The only two theoretically that still exist is Alec and Chris. Boom, all gone. All right. But when you go back to this video, listen to this. This is why you need to act fast, because there's lots of companies involved in this now. This is what they told people to do in a secret video that you won't see twice unless you watch my videos. Listen to this. Oops, got the wrong one. Let's press play. Play.
Establish their own LLC to do business with Goliath. So instead of individuals, you'll have a company. Creates a legal barrier. It's a limited liability company, which is good. The other thing that it does is it creates a clean way for you to be paid by Chris to serve your clients, which are ultimately Goliath's clients, right?
Can you imagine that? Go set yourself up a couple. Hey, Danny, I want you to work for Microsoft, but we want a legal barrier between Microsoft and you. So we want you to set up your own LLC company to put a legal barrier between you. Now, ultimately, what he's going to say now is, even though you've set up your own company, you're handling our money. The clients are still Goliath Ventures.
In servicing them in this structure, it sidesteps a bunch of regulatory stuff that de facto turns Goliath.
Even Matt Burke's taking his glasses off, scratching his head.
Into a fund. Goliath is not a fund, so we want to avoid that language. But if you say you're a fund and you get paid like you're a fund, when someone knocks on the door, they're going to go, it's definitely a fund.
So the investor I was talking to this morning had invested 2 years ago. So he was getting more than 3%. It was so good that he decided to reinvest some more money later on. That didn't work out so good. So this person had received some dividends, but not many dividends. But at 5%, so somebody had got paid. It's in my blog, and I'll just give you a snippet now because I know you're all busy people. Somebody got paid within the last 10 days from Goliath Ventures. So this money, so I mean, I'm sorry, but I got told, I can't even tell you how I got told, but I know that somebody got paid in the last 10 days. Now, if they're having money transmission problems, how did that person get paid? On the 10th of December, another investor who invested $100,000, got 5% return, got paid all their money plus $79,000 worth of dividends. Also got paid in the 10th of December. So why are romantic partners, for the use of a better word, getting paid and you're not? Where is this money? Why aren't they telling people where the money is? I mean, I just, you know, like, and if you haven't, I'll put the link to this video in the chat room. This video is 1 hour, 47 minute long. I've watched it 3 times. Every time I watch it, it answers a question that I didn't know. So if you haven't watched this video, stop watching this video, come back to me later on. Go watch this video. You will realize this is a scam. This video here condemns them. This video be played in a courtroom. Everybody involved in Goliath Ventures, partners, in my opinion, will be locked up and incarcerated. Matt Burke, his church doesn't even want him there. Pierce Curry, he's put everything into Goliath Ventures, was going to do a massive withdrawal. I'm sure he would have got his money because he's going to buy a new house. He's been promoting Goliath Ventures in Zoom meetings to people. He's been offering them 8% return. Actually, is that him? I might have that wrong. But in Canada, they started pitching this to Canadians. Now, we believe there's $120 million worth of money from being taken from Canadians. And every time I get a phone call, it's another 100 or 200,000. Yesterday alone, I received 4 new investors I hadn't heard of, emails, because basically saying, well, all of them are saying they've invested. Some people are even coming to me as friends of friends. are trying to help their friends who's too scared to come forward. Why are you too scared to come forward? If somebody took $100,000 from me, $200,000 of me, $50,000 of me, I would be squawking on the, I would, because Danny cool, he's crazy like a fool. Right, maybe. Anyway, so let's get back into this blog. So what we're doing, when a defense lawyer sends an update filled with legal language but not verifiable facts, it doesn't mean to inform investors. It isn't meant to inform investors. It meant to slow them down. So the clock is ticking, and this is what you are doing. You are letting time disappear. Cyndi Lauper would sing something about time, didn't she? The last few weeks haven't been loud. They've been heavy with missed payments, unanswered questions, and investors quietly realizing that October, November, and December came and went without being paid. Maybe you're too busy doing your Christmas decorations. I don't know. My inbox hasn't been filling with speculation or curiosity. It's been filling with confessions, people explaining why they stayed silent for months. People have actually been believing these stories, hoping the next update would fix everything, hoping patience would be rewarded. Instead, when they were told, wait again, right up until the end of January. So this is it, guys. So all of a sudden, it's the 21st of January. So I live in the future. I can tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. This is the end of January nearly. This is where it hits the fan. Ooh, sorry. Cut that off the mic. And this is what you get. At the exact moment, more investors are finally coming forward. So they know that we've been doing these videos. I've done 4 videos 4 days in a row, exposing this and everything, from pink flamingos to going down rabbit holes. In fact, they were really, really funny videos, and I don't care. This is my video. I want to show you. I love my look at these here. So yesterday, well, let's go back to this one. So there's Christopher in his empty $8.5 million building, talking to the architect, going, "Well, how are you going to pay for this?" Next thing, Danny went down a rabbit hole. That was quite cool. Went down. I woke up. One of my Avengers was telling me that they go down rabbit holes. So here I am with my wee shovel going down the rabbit hole. Next one is we're reading. This was actually. Is that relevant? Oh yeah, that was relevant because the introduction of that fake FBI agent was a guy that had been in the FBI for 26 years. Thank you, Susie. I did see that message come through. 26 years FBI agent, and he's coming out now telling us he told me to F off. He was interviewed by Tomo. So we asked him the question, have you invested in Goliath Ventures? And his response was F off. Didn't want to investigate, even though on video, in a video, he was telling Tomo that he hates fraud, hates crypto, hates mum and dad investors being taken care of, hates people losing their pension. Talking to Tomo's trying to listen to see if he can figure out how the FBI work. And then this guy, when I reached out to him, so that you got interviewed by Tomo. Are you interested in the investigation with Goliath? And what do I get? F off. Really? Amazing. Anyway, and then yesterday's video was the floodgates are opening, and there's Christopher in his pink flamingo. So that was quite exciting for me. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, all right, so at the exact moment where investors are finally coming forward, providing contracts, payment records, screenshots, messages, timelines, and names, Goliath Ventures issues another carefully worded newsletter titled New Company Update. Message received. Outstanding exits and distributions. Oh, it's everything that everyone wants to hear. This time, it was arrived with a lawyer's name and framed as an explanation everyone has been waiting for. That timing matters. This blog exists to explain in plain English why that update changes nothing and why MSB excuse doesn't hold up, how it contradicts earlier audits and payout claims, and why waiting longer is not a solution. So let's just do what I do. So just so you get a good look at this here, this is blurry for a reason because this lawyer that helps people get out of FDIC charges, can't even format a letter. This is the letter that is associated to Goliath Ventures, MailChimp, Conolage. I can't even read it. Let's just go back here. So these are the normal letters that you get from Goliath. You can see that's nice, clear, and crispy. Let's get rid of these guys off my screen so I don't have to keep looking at them. And then you can see here the whole line of previous newsletters. And all of a sudden, we've had a 2-month gap, and then here's a new one that's popped up. And this is what you get, a blurry letter from a professional lawyer who does defense. Crazy. Anyway, my point is, not much of a letter, doesn't answer any questions, but that's what you got. Right. Okay. So why this email appears now? 4 months, people waited on their own. That matters because isolation keeps control with the company. When investors don't compare notes, they delay. Every delay feels personal. Every excuse feels unique, and every promise feels plausible. That silence brought time. Sorry, I'm not the best reader, but I usually do get my computer to read it, but I'm going to read it because I like reading this stuff, because I like to absorb it, and I want you guys to absorb what I'm saying. What changed is that people have started talking to each other. Yes, we have a community. We do have a WhatsApp group. We started talking to each other. They started talking to us. We compared stories. I told them one investor was told this. Oh, I was told this. That's why every detail that you can provide to us helps. Comparing timelines, comparing excuses. You know, when somebody rings me up and they tell me that they had received, like one guy rang me up and told me he received 1.5 million out. And his money, that he only took what he put in, and now he's using the house money and hoping to get return on investment. That's what we get. Comparing who was paid and who wasn't. Once that started happening, it became clear that the explanations weren't sensational. They were recycled. They're using every excuse they can to fool you. That's the moment reassurance emails appear. So when we start questioning, we start prodding, you've got to think about this. Right now, I gave Eric a link to this meeting. I gave Chris a link to this meeting. I also told him to go down 3 doors down to the other lawyers and ask them to come along here as well. None of them want to appear on the video, even though they are reacting to the content I'm putting out. This wasn't a normal company update. It wasn't openly published like previous newsletters. It was designed to be easily archived or shared. It wasn't designed to be easily archived and shared. That's why I don't read. I miss out the little words. It was delivered as a restricted document, accessed through a gated link, quietly controlling visibility and limiting how far it could spread. Well, we got it like as soon as it was published. Thanks very much to our team of people who are trying to scratch their head and figure out what's going on. That isn't transparency, is what the company says that they pride themselves on. It's damage control. It's an attempt to slow momentum. Just as investors stopped waiting quietly, they started asking the same questions at the same time. How embarrassing. So, who the lawyer actually is and why it matters. The email attributed to Eric Clayman, a Florida-based attorney whose name has appeared before, whose name has appeared before in connection to Goliath Ventures. In earlier correspondence with me, he made one point very clear. He represents Goliath for legal matters only and has nothing to do with the company's actual business operations. Now, I have that in writing, and I have that in an email sent to Danny Charlesworth. It's me. Did you not know you were corresponding with Danny DeHeck? My legal name when I was born is Danny Charlesworth. I changed my name by deed-poll at the age of 15 so I could open up a bank account, because my stepfather, who died by suicide, I got known as Danny DeHeck. But when I went to open up my bank account, the bank said I had to use my legal name. And at that time, my legal name was Danny Charlesworth. So I changed it to Danny DeHeck. So if you have been receiving emails from Danny Charlesworth, Eric, that's me. That distinction matters. So this is a claim by the lawyer who sent that letter. All right, that distinction matters. But so do the details around how his involvement is presented. So listen to this, and this is really strange. So you've got Eric Clayman operates under multiple domain names. Now, I haven't linked them through because I don't want to give them any. My website gets around about 6,000 views a month, and if I link through to his website, it's going to give him some score, some clout. So I've put these little wee dots on here. So first of all, he's got Eric ClaymanLaw.com, and then if you go to that website, it has another email address, and it reads ClaymanLawFirm.com, which is a bit strange. But anyway, I've got 2 domain names. You can go to danny.co.nz or you can go to theheck.com. I use .com for international, and .co.nz is easy when I meet some New Zealander and go, oh, you just go to danny.co.nz. Oh, you got that domain name? Yeah, I have. Anyway, yet past correspondence has been sent to Eric at GoliathVentures.com. Now, why isn't he on the website? Well, the recent newsletter was distributed from news at GoliathVentures.com. So he's got access to Goliath Ventures mail poet newsletter area. Interesting. Logins, passwords, I assume. Even though the newsletter listed Eric at ClaymanLawFirm.com. Have I got that right? Law firm. Oh, yep. As his contact address. So why would you have so many inconsistencies? Or is it a shit show? That's what I'm really getting at. It's a shit show. This is a shit newsletter that you shouldn't even listen to, and you shouldn't even have any hope. I mean, isn't Christopher meant to be sending out these newsletters? That matters because it blurs roles. When legal correspondence is sent through a company controlled by, sent from a company controlled domain, it is sent, but carries a law firm letterhead and is framed as an independent legal explanation. Like some lawyer all of a sudden has put his hand up and said, oh, I'll do your correspondence, Chris. I see you're over in Dubai at the moment. I hope you had a nice time in Thailand the other day. I heard that you paid $150,000 for a 3-day event, $50,000 a day, so he could have nice seats when he went to listen to some concert over in Thailand. Yeah, I don't know if he's back yet, but anyway, it creates the appearance of a legal authority without an independent. Oh, look, I'm just going to have to read this. I'm so sorry.
It creates the appearance of legal authority without the independence people assume comes with it.
That's better, isn't it? To be clear, none of this means a lawyer is confirming facts. A lawyer representing a client tells them does not mean funds exist, accounts are solvent, payments are imminent. I mean, lawyers gives advice on how you should act. It doesn't do the correspondence for you. He's not auditing accounts. He is not verifying balances. He is not guaranteeing distributions. He's just making excuses. What he is doing is relaying a narrative framed in legal language at a moment when investors are looking for reassurance. That is not validation of reality. It is presentation. And when presentation replaces transparency, investors should slow down, not calm down. Investors should slow down, not calm down. Not very good at reading today. The MSB excuse sounds official, but FinCEN warns people about it. Now, this is really, really important. I've included in the description of this video is a link to this blog, and you can go there and click on the link and see what FinCEN actually says. Click. Oh, there it is there. It warns in red about companies that are doing exactly what Goliath Ventures is doing. This current excuse being published is that Goliath cannot pay investors because it does not yet have a money services business. And he's claiming that it takes 90 days and they're up to the 80-day threshold. Now, the other excuse we are using is auditors, and we're going to get into that. This sounds technical and reassuring, but it's exactly why it's being used. Here's what investors are not being told. On the official web, FinCEN, the US Financial Crimes Enforcement Network website explicitly warns the public that fraudsters routinely abuse MSB registration process. FinCEN states, being listed as a MSB does not mean the company is approved. FinCEN does not endorse or vet businesses. Claims that MSB registration makes it safe to send money are false and commonly used in scams. Okay? Now, FinCEN's warning you can read it directly for yourself from the blog that I just mentioned, and I just flicked the screen and you'll find that exact quote on my website and on their website for verification. In other words, if Goliath were registered, that would not justify holding investors' funds, stopping payments, demanding patience, or claiming legitimacy. And here's the key point. Goliath is not even approved yet. So let's just say that I'm wrong and we are waiting for them to be approved and it takes 90 days. They are claiming that after the 90 days, payments are instantly going to start being paid again. They're not making any claims. They're using it as stalling tactics. Like on the lifeboat I talked about on the Titanic, it's sinking. And as soon as you say, I want off the Titanic, they put you on a boat and cut you off and let you float out to the sea with no engines, no nothing. And that's exactly what's happening. So as soon as you do your exit strategy, they cut you off from the Goliath Ventures investment portfolio website. So investors are being asked to trust a delay based on a process that FinCEN itself says should never be used as a trust signal. I mean, I don't know if sometimes I speak too long. I mean, maybe I need to just create a video and say some investors are being asked to trust delays based on a process that FinCEN itself says should never be trusted as a trust signal. I mean, really? Do I need to say that twice before you guys reach out to me? Are you really going to employ? Now, we have got a few solutions coming up. Now, you can go directly to Eric. I've got all his contact details in a form as attached to this email. You can also go to the other lawyers that are trying to claim there's a lawsuit against me in Florida, lodged in Orange County Court, which has no jurisdiction over me whatsoever. And you can go and email them and do your own investigation. You can make your own claims and you can do whatever you effing well like. You don't have to involve me, because some people don't like me because I've been telling the truth for far too long and I get paid every month and you don't know what you're talking about. I get that and I understand that. I'm not going to judge you. I've got people that are providing me information that were ridiculing me at the start, telling me I was a friggin' idiot, and now my best friends, and every day they get a little bit of information, they give it to me. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you used to work directly. I don't care if you used to be on the front page of Goliath Ventures website and you want to start helping us with this investigation. In fact, I recommend it. And that's why we're trying to turn Nick at one point. One of my videos was pleading with Nick to use common sense to become a major whistleblower. Because at the end of the day, you're all going to jail if you don't speak up. And if there's any chance that we can recover money from any of these people, like Christopher blowing $150,000 just last week, going to Thailand for 3 days, and buying the most extravagant ticket to a concert you could ever think of, $150,000, claiming that there's no way that you can be paid because he doesn't have a money transmitting services license, and you're happy sitting here twiddling your thumbs? You really think nothing's going to happen here? Like, we are guesstimated that this is well over a $500 million scam. It could even be more. We, the other day, got in the back end of the portal and saw that the client that we were with was over 1,700 clients. So in my eyes, there could be 1,700 clients. Now, some people were investing $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 at the start. But let's just say that the last 700 invested $100,000, which was the minimum investment. So that's why when you give us access to the back end portal, like 17 people have so far, I'll tell you that, then all of a sudden we can see what number you were on the chain. And if we realize that you were number 800 and you were getting 5% return, we can work things out a lot easier. That's why they don't want us to have access to the back-end portal. So if you have got access to the back-end portal, log in today and do some nice, tidy screenshots. Put them into Dropbox, and then when you really believe us, you can give us those screenshots and we can use them to put together your evidence document that I can give to the head investigators of Goliath Ventures Inc. 6 different government agencies are investigating this. I am talking to the lead investigator. I can just message him anything. Could be a her, but it's a him. Anyway, and this is what we're trying to say to people. So, okay, an MS application does not freeze money, okay? Okay, this means this needs to be stated clearly because the issue being presented is misleading to people. MSBs routinely handle very large transactions volumes, including high value corporate transfers and institutional crypto flows. Capacity is not the issue. Compliance and risk are the issue. As MSB applications, an MSB application does not automatically lock or freeze existing funds. It does not permit distributions if funds are available. It does not override contractual payment obligations. It does not justify months of missed payments. Does not explain why some investors were being paid while others were not. Do you understand what I'm saying? People are getting paid. The people that are squawking very loudly, who are doing all the jumping up and down, threatening to go public, threatening to do lawsuits, are getting paid. Okay? If money cannot be paid now, the real reason is not the MSB approval. When MSB approval arrives, because when that does get approved and you don't get paid, what excuse? They've already used the audit as an excuse. It is where the money currently is. That's the real question is, where is the money? I mean, we showed you a newsletter where Matt Burke claimed that 115% of investors' funds were secured at all times in 2024, theoretically. Where's that money now? Whether it still exists in full and why it can't move at all. Where is the money? Is it in crypto somewhere? Crypto crashed at $380 billion in one day. Christopher held a webinar, I don't even know if he was in it, that lasted 12 minutes, which was pitched at a 45-minute webinar to calm the farm, to tell everyone that their money was safe and the crypto crash did not affect them at all. How pathetic is that? Did you tune into that meeting? Did he tell you where the money was? How can a company that claims it makes all its money from doing liquidity pool trading and crypto mining, who's got no proof of either, and also blockchain technologies investments? If you go to the website of Goliath Ventures, Christopher, in previous videos, we've showed you that these acquisitions that he claims that he's made are actually all done in Chris's name. And these were done before Goliath Ventures actually set up a formal website like this. So any of these accomplishments that he's got are all in his name as far as our knowledge goes. So the whole company is a veneer. It's a smokescreen for a company that's taken investments, who's just running, in my opinion, a typical Ponzi scheme. They're using new investors' money to pay old investors, hoping that they would be able to dominate the world and keep getting investors. And that's why they were offering 8% return for people who invest in Canada, because they were hoping they needed some cash flow to calm the farm, because you guys aren't jumping up enough. So all those questions I just read out were never answered in that email, and they've just given you one lousy excuse why a massive company that paid out $100 million worth of dividends in 2024, going by Matt Burke, if you can believe anything he says, all of a sudden it's grounded to a halt because they can't get their money to their investors, even though Goliath is meant to be only paying the people underneath them. So remember that video we watched? Every person that was on the website here, that's left on the website, has been forced. They're no longer executives, but they've been forced to set up their own companies. So technically speaking, if you really want Danny brain on it, technically speaking, Mike J. Lucky, nice to have you as a bronze member. Thank you for joining my YouTube channel. That is really nice. Woohoo, look at that. It's the first person that's joined my YouTube channel in 3 months. I feel the love. Thank you very much. It's really kind. Hope you stay. I'll be nice to you, I promise. So what I'm getting at is, this is how simple it is. I actually got a list of all the people. I want to see if I can bring it up. Because what I'm saying, guys, is you might think that they've got all these investors to pay. Well, they don't. And it's really weird, because I just told you that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 people have set themselves up. I'll just make sure, because I haven't got Piers Curry in my list that I'm looking at. So 18 people I'll have a look. Hold up. 18 people have got themselves set up as LLC companies. I'm just going to bring them all up here. And I'll take a screenshot. 1 minute. I'll just do this. Okay, hear me out here because this is Danny Logic. Susie might be able to help me here if I got this wrong, but I think I've got it right. The way I'm looking at it, it's everybody that I'm about to show you, right? These lists here are all the people that were, there's 18 people. I haven't got PSK in here, but they all had to set up their own LLC company. So my logic is that only 18 people need to get paid. Simple, isn't it? 18 people need to get paid because these people have been told in that video I showed you to set up their own company because they are going to be responsible for paying their clients. So that would mean that each and every one of those companies theoretically would have to set up their own MSB. Is it MSB? Am I saying that right? I always get that wrong. Yeah, so each and every single one of those companies would have to set up their own MSB licenses because Goliath is only paying 18 people. And then the 18 people are responsible for paying the rest of the farm animals. Simple, isn't it? So why is this the case? So now you've got more stuff to explain, Eric, because why does one company, how can one company set up an MSB license when the reality is they're only paying one of the 18 people, and then the 18 companies that are set up underneath all now have to distribute the money. So the way I see it, if you want to do this properly and use MSB as an excuse, you would literally need to tell each of those companies to set up their own MSB licenses. Because mathematics don't lie, and mathematics says that 18 people are looking after potentially 1,700 people. Audit excuses. So if you want to use that excuse, use it as an excuse, but you still haven't finished up with your last excuse. The audit excuse came first, and it still doesn't add up. Before MSB became the latest explanation, investors were told payouts stopped because of an audit. This was not Goliath's first audit, yet investors were never shown previous audits that supposedly justified earlier delays. In August 2025, Goliath calculated a financial audit, what do they call that word? Circulated a financial audit review that made a very specific claim. And this is the most important part of the whole review that I saw. I'm going to get it read.
Goliath maintained an average collector balance of 115% or more of partner balances at all times during the review period.
So what are you watching this? I feel like I'm talking to people with deaf ears, and they're all of a sudden hoping that I'm going to come up with a magic pile of money. And let's just say Goliath Ventures goes after Danny DeHeck in the courtroom if they ever file it correctly, which I wouldn't mind them doing actually, because I won the last case and it was quite fun. I got to be in the New Zealand Law Society magazine as a lawsuit. It was really, really cool. And they were even the university using my case. If you don't know me, I am actually claimed Australasia's biggest scam fighter. That's what Channel 9 News of Australia deemed me as, which is really, really nice. But no one else is really sticking their neck out on the line. I'd fight this to the death. I'm quite happy to say that. I'm not reckless with my life. And you know what people don't realise, I've actually had Goliath Ventures knocking on my door of my house, offering me a deal, which I wouldn't even entertain listening to. This was the second deal that they've offered me. I got offered $150,000 if I wrote a retraction and I removed all my videos. They had tracked me down. They literally had sat outside my neighborhood trying to find out where I lived, going by what the neighbors said. Two men were sitting outside in a car in the street, stalking my neighborhood, trying to find out where I lived. They managed to find out where I lived, and they walked up the drive and they knocked on the door. And I thought they were here from the FBI, actually, and they weren't. They were two private investigators, and I haven't really told this story, and I've got a video of it. But anyway, long story short, these guys wouldn't talk to me on camera, and they wouldn't talk to me with my cell phone in my hand. So I told them to F off. But in the meantime, I were recording the whole conversation, and I walked them off the neighborhood where I live, and I sat on the pavement outside their car for an hour waiting for these guys to return because I found out where they parked their car. And ironically, a neighbour come out and said, "What are you doing sitting outside my car?" And I went, "Oh, is that your car?" I said, "Oh, I thought it was these private investigators who flew down from Auckland." So long story short, they said, no, this is our car. And I explained the story to them and said, I've had these guys. And they said, "Oh, we've had two men sitting in cars outside in the neighbourhood." And they said, "That car over there is probably their car." And it was looked like a rental. And I said, "That's it." So we sat there. 2.5 hours later, these private investigators turned up in a ute, and somebody got out and drove off in the car. And that's when I gave up, and I went sitting there all day long waiting for them to return. But it was a bit of a laugh. Went out to a rooftop bar about 2 weeks later, and I was with somebody, and I looked at the person and I said, "I think that's the person that knocked on my door." And I walked up to this. I took a photo of them first in case they ran away, and there was two of them, and it was one of them. So I took a video right up in the guy's face. I'm like standing here to here, and I'm holding my camera against my chest as I'm walking around getting a drink, and I'm videoing him. And then we went back, I gave the video to the Avengers, and we found out this guy had the same watch and the same shoes that he did when he knocked on my door. These guys are meant to be down from Auckland, which is like 1,100 kilometres away from where I live. Long story short, quite intimidating, quite freaky that they do that. And when they knocked on the door, they explained that they were working for the lawyers that were working for Goliath. But when we contacted the lawyer and said that you've just put a target on my back, by having these guys find where I live, and we're going to document everything that happened. We also wrote to the private investigator company. We found out who they were. We found out everything about them, the full transparency of the whole 9 yards. And they said that they had nothing to do with it. So they denied the fact that these guys were here working for Goliath for legal reasons, I'm sure. But that's what happens in my life. And I haven't told people that story, so you're getting a bit of a snippet here. Does it intimidate me? Nah, not at all. Not at all. Oh, thank you very much. That's very generous. That is so nice. That is my first donation in 2 weeks, I think. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. I'm not here for the money, but I need the money. That is really kind. Thank you very much. But anyway, so that's what I'm going through. So I'm literally... I feel threatened. I have to be honest, I am intimidated. I have very understanding people in my life. I'm risking a lot to even talk about what I just talked about. And I'm not reckless. I do value my life. But I'm playing with people here that stole, I believe, $500 million from people. Like I said at the start, somebody booked my time via my website and didn't even pay the $50, funny enough. The $50 that I suggest they pay if they want to talk to me on the blower. And I did a video call with them right while I was preparing this blog. And I'm not knocking the person for reaching out, and I'm not saying you can't talk to me for money. I'll do it free of charge for the rest of my life if I can survive. But it comes at a toll. I was in the swing of writing this blog that you're looking at right now. I was in between writing emails back to Eric Clayman, telling him he's a coward and he should come on the live. I'm dealing with some criminals. I'm dealing with people that will be in jail who don't want to go to jail and do what it takes. As Tomo said to me in my first threat that I got, he said that you don't know who you're messing with. And next minute I see, next minute, what do I see? I see Goliath Ventures on this yacht here. And here's Tomo, and there's Mike, and there's Christopher on these 3 yachts in Croatia. And whose yachts do you think they are? Have you ever heard of Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate was promoting the War Room, which is a group of men who think they're above the law. And I'm watching this going, oh my God, I don't really want to piss off Andrew Tate. I don't know what he's capable of. And then you've got Tomo, which is right there. Tomo is telling people, you don't know who you're messing with. This is a 12-year-old policeman. Well, not 12-year-old, but 12 years policeman Look at him. He's walking in and he's even got his earpiece in, like he's listening to some music. Daddy cool. Daddy cool. Boney M. Anyway, the next person that's behind him is Mike. Mike is now driving around in a new Ferrari. You know, I don't know what Tomo drives, but you come through here and you're looking at this video and I'm thinking to myself, have I picked on the wrong people? Am I intimidated by what I'm seeing here? Could I potentially have to take a beating from these guys? Are these guys going to come after me and threaten my family, for the use of a better word? Are they going, these guys here? So here's the scene that you won't see every day. There's Tomo. He's telling everyone that he's one of 33 speakers who speak to Andrew Tate. Now, what I'm going to tell you a funny story here. If you go back enough, I think it's we get to about here, and there's Christopher, Tomo, and Mike sitting here in the room. 3 people from Goliath Ventures are now on what I believe is a gangster's yacht journey, plotting how they can do business. Do you know what happened, guys? Every action has a reaction. Andrew Tate doesn't want anything to do with Goliath Ventures. Apparently, if the rumours are correct, Christopher wouldn't explain to Andrew Tate how he makes his money. So they kicked him out of the war room. Isn't that amazing? Now, this video, we went through it frame by frame, and that's the photo where we found Mike, Christopher, and Tomo. Tomo did a post on his social media claiming that he was one of 33 speakers that speak at the war room. And then he removed the video. He removed the post. He doesn't want to make that claim anymore. So what's the war room? Well, how do you think I feel when 2 guys knock on my door who are part of this exclusive man's club where everybody doesn't want to show their face and blurs it out? You come down here and there's all these men learning how to fight. You know, this is true intimidation. Well, they're not blurred out, but look at these photos. And here's Tomo, Christopher, and Mike, part of this exclusive man's club called the War Room. Does that intimidate me? Yeah, it does. Am I risking everything? Yeah, I am. And people still are asking me to work free of charge and help them because I've invested $100,000. Today's phone call, $200,000. Yesterday, I won't say exactly how much, but over $200,000. I've had $500,000. I've had $15 million people tell me they've invested $15 million. I've got 16, what are they called, surgeons or people in the beauty industry that do things with knives. What are they called? 16 of them invested because one person invested, they all followed suit. Look, I'm not saying, and I have got some interesting offers coming on the table, so there may be a way out of this. But in the meantime, we're here to help. If the statements were true, this would mean Goliath held more money than they owed partners. Now, I'm going back to this statement here, the 115% or more of partner balances at all times during the period. So this is their last audit. Now, if that was true, that means Goliath actually has got more money than they owe partners. There are sufficient reviews. That's a statement. If there was sufficient reviews? I don't know what that means. You can read it. Withdrawals could be satisfied at any time. So if they've got the money, they could pay. But now they're claiming they've got the money, but they're not saying where the money's secured. And you would think that would be a logical way of saying it. So the obvious question is, where did all the money go? Where did all the money go? Because shortly after payments stopped, December promised that never materialised. In December, Goliath sent out an official newsletter. Now, this is the one I think that most people should be really upset about. They sent out an official newsletter assuring investors that the disruption was over and all outstanding balances would be brought up to date. The message was oblivious. I think that's right.
Unambiguous.
Unambiguous. It stated that December 15th and 18th cycle would include October catch-ups. We didn't even know they were missing October catch-ups at that time. November payouts alongside December's. A return to normal distribution cadence going forward. The newsletter framed the delay as a completed compliance exercise and thanked investors for the patience, explicitly stating that everything owed would be paid and no further interruptions would be expected. Now, you'd read that letter and think, oh, that's great. All right, everything's back to normal. I've been receiving my dividends, not my initial payment. However, the reality is many investors are still waiting. Now, the timing of that letter is disgusting. What makes that harder to reconcile is that what was happening at the same time. On December the 12th, now this newsletter was sent out on December the 2nd. On December the 12th, Goliath hosted a large Christmas event featuring Jason Derulo as the headline performer, with public statements about charitable donations tied to attendance. So everybody that turned up were told that $500 or $600 was going off to a charity just for them showing up. Guests were accommodated at venues costing around $1,000 per night. And the event was presented as a celebration of success of momentum. Just days later, on the 15th of December, Christopher returned to Dubai. Wouldn't you be staying in America? I've heard that he doesn't want to walk the streets of Orlando at the moment. So investors were being told in writing that all missed payments were about to be resolved. Funds were available and compliance issues were behind them. While at the same time, significant money was clearly spent on high-profile entertainment events, luxury accommodation for attendees, and international travel. The contrast matters. It leaves investors with the unavoidable set of contradictions. The audit previously claimed 115% coverage of partner balances. A December newsletter promised full catch-ups and resume payments. A lawyer now claims that MSB delays prevented the distribution, contradictions all over the place, and investors remain unpaid for months. These statements cannot be all true at the same time. Just using logic here, guys. If funds were available in December as promised, they should have been paid. If funds were not available, this is a crypto company that can pay people in crypto. I'm pretty sure if I've said to a room full of investors, of 1,700 investors, would you be happy to receive your money, your exit money, in crypto? I'm pretty sure I'd get 100% of hands up. If funds were not available, the December newsletter was misleading, if not there simply to calm the farm, and maybe to make sure they could hold the event. And people were already saying, I'm not going to the event, because we had that event covered, guys. We had media in the audience. All right? So if you guys think that you weren't captured on film or camera, I haven't mentioned that before, and I probably shouldn't have, but we have insiders in there with, recording the event. It was a great party. No expense spared. And if money could be spent on events, travel, and promotion, then the question investors are entitled to ask is not about MSB timelines. It's why distributions were prioritized last. If you can spend $5 million on an event, wouldn't you rather have payout and scrub the event? Just saying. That is the gap. The latest updates does not address. What the lawyer's email carefully avoids saying, for all its length and legal tone, the email avoids addressing only the issues that actually matters to the investors. It didn't mention anything that people wanted to hear who are worried about their investment. At no point does it clearly state where investors' monies are held, where those funds are, I can't even read that, let's have a go.
Segregated or commingled.
Oh, I'm not going to have another go. Whether any of the money was already spent or moved, has been spent. Whether sufficient funds still exist to cover investor balances. When specifically anyone will actually be paid. There's no timeline. It's just 90-day. We're waiting for our. How do I say it? I'm waiting for my registration of my car. It's in the mail. I still don't know whether I'll get my license back in time. This is what we're listening to. Instead, the email relies on process over substance. timelines without dates, explanations without documents, and reassurance without proof. Legal language is used to sound authoritative, but authority without transparency is meaningless. I'm getting better at reading. What's missing is not technical detail. What's missing is accountability. Hope is not a payment plan, and reassurance is not a subtle substitute for showing where money is. I just said I was getting better at reading. Right, selective payout problems. Now, this might rip the hem on your night. Now, I'm going to have a bit of a rest from talking. I'm going to let the computer do it. But listen to this.
One of the most disturbing patterns emerging from people now coming forward is this. Some people were paid, many were not, and those payments were neither random nor consistent with the explanations being given.
So why are some people being paid when they're telling you they can't pay people? How do I prove that those people have been paid? Because everyone wants to keep quiet. No one really wants to talk about it. But I have got proof from, I could tell you the same people that have provided information to presidents have actually provided me information. So I'm talking way up the ranks. Same people that can provide, I'm not saying Donald Trump, but people that have provided knowledge to people like Donald Trump are talking to me. They're telling me, I've got a big team of Avengers who are really sticking their neck out. They're telling me information that I can't repeat. And I need, I've got, as I often say, I've got 6 different government agencies working on this. I've been in Microsoft team meeting with government agencies who have, stroked my ego and said to me, I cannot believe the intel that you guys have collected as a team. I've currently got, I think we're up to 139 odd people on my database, persons of interest at the moment, people that have been promoting or investing in Goliath Ventures. I also have another team which are on a different database of whistleblowers, people that have provided me information, and we're collecting all the screenshots and the intel. We're going through all the Reddit accounts. We're doing a full-out investigation here. And government agencies are telling me they are amazed at what we've done. This is what privatization would do to awesome investigations. This is who I am. I'm an awesome investigator. People write to me and they go, oh, how much do you charge for a review? And I go, well, you can do a koha, gesture if you don't have any money, but normally a couple $100, and I'll research and write a blog about it and tell you all the red flags. That's what we do. But this is a full-on investigation. Government departments can't do the investigation that we've done. And I understand why. I'm not saying they should. They don't have the man-hours behind it. And also, when you listen to the political news and they're talking about trillions and billions of dollars and all this sort of stuff, I mean, this is a $500 million Ponzi scheme. People that have managed to get money have gone and invested it and they've lost it. I mean, the government agency is not going to sink their teeth into this one investigation, even though this might be the biggest Ponzi scheme in Florida's history. And I'm, a guy from New Zealand with a team of Avengers who are like a dog with a bone after it. In the bigger scale of things, this is nothing, and unfortunately, when I were talking to the head investigator, and I had somebody who'd lost over $200,000, he wasn't impressed. He still wants to go after the people that invested over $1 million because they want to recover the money. And, if it's $200,000, they're going, oh, it's not worth our time. So I've got to present a good case to them to fight your things. Somebody reached out to us and they've invested $20,000 and then they had it there and it got up to $40,000. And then they were squeezed by Goliath to get it up to $100,000. So they got their friends to help invest and they put their money together and they pulled it together. Even though Goliath, you're not allowed to do that, they put their money together to get the minimum threshold of $100,000 together. Those people are bleeding the money out of Goliath. But let's just say that 2 people who invested $20,000 put it together and then they got their compounding, hyperpounded money and they got up to $80,000, all right, because they invested earlier on. That money is not helping Goliath at all. Then all of a sudden they managed to get another $20,000 and they got to the minimum threshold of $100,000. Now they've been promised they're going to get 3% return, not 5% return. You see what's happening here? So Goliath are looking at this guy. We don't want these investors anymore. We want them out. They're bleeding us dry. That's why they said in the February newsletter that they only want people who are going to invest $100,000. And every time I go after a scam, they do the same thing. Hyperverse. They were offering, if you invested $600 within, what was it? Yeah, in 180 days, you were going to get 3 times your return of your investment. And then you'd put $600 in, you'd get $1,800 in, I think it was 180 days. Don't quote me. But then when they ran out of money, they told people that you now have to invest $400. Oh, sorry, it was $300. Invest for 180 days, you'd get $900 back. And when they ran out of money, they told people now the minimum investment threshold was $400. And also you had to wait 1,200 days instead of 9. It might have been, I've forgotten what it was, but they changed the exact figures, and you'll get where I'm coming from with this, because somebody with a calculator is trying to work out how much money we're bleeding to keep the Ponzi scheme going. And that's why they rejigged everything and made the minimum threshold $100,000, thinking that they would be able to pay off some of the lower monies with that new threshold. And instead of paying out 5%, which was burning them, the bleeding, they would now pay out 3%. And they believe that they could have kept the scam going longer. This Ponzi scheme is where you pay old investors with new investors' money. And now they've gone to Canada and offered people 8% return. The only reason they're doing that is to get the cash in to keep paying people. And this is why, we've got people like Piers Curry was literally just a couple of months ago in a Zoom meeting trying to convince people to invest because they've gone undercover and they're doing these secret promotional meetings where they're telling people they're going to get 8% return if they give them $100,000. What do you think they're going to do when they get that $100,000? They're going to quickly pay everybody they can, or now they've got this other problem. Danny DeHeck's on the case, and everyone's been told to take out your initial investment. Oh my God, we can't sustain that. So what are we going to do? We're going to come up with excuses. This is not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a credible company. This is not how business is done. I did a video ages ago about showing you what a real investor company would look like. This is not a real investment company. This is a scam. This is people committing fraud. This is Christopher in Dubai in his big flash apartment. He's bought 5 houses, $4 million worth of cars, spent $1 million on the girlfriend. Nice new handbag, by the way, Tay, whatever your name is. We've been corresponding with Chris's girlfriend. I can send her a message and she writes back. It does sound like Chris is answering her messages, but she said that I've got it wrong. Chris is a lovely guy and he's just trying to help people with their financial futures. Patrick Ben David took $1 million from Christopher. So Christopher could stand up at the stage at the Vault 2025 event and tell people that he helps people with their passive income. How's your passive income going at the moment? Christopher apparently does pancake swaps. And that's how he does, he makes the money for people. All of a sudden, everybody in the world has got it wrong. Even Andrew Tate lost $1 million to doing leverage trading. Imagine if Christopher was on that yacht with Andrew Tate, and Andrew Tate says, "Hey, Chris, what are you doing with all the money that you've got?" "Well, it's all secured in a mystery bank account that no one knows about, but let's just say I had access to that. What are you suggesting?" "Well, I do leverage trading. And that's where if you bet on the tide coming in on crypto, you can make a lot of money. But when the tide goes out, you lose all that money." Andrew Tate lost $1 million in leverage trading. It's in my blogs. I've written about it. I've told you about it. Giving you the exact accounts, the crypto wallet addresses where he's done it. We can see the money. Other influencers were talking about it. They actually deem him a very bad trader. Now, if Christopher has decided to put all that money into leverage trading like Andrew Tate had and lost it, and we can prove it, imagine all that money that Matt Burke said was secured in 2024, 115% was, where's that money gone? Has he blown it all on leverage trading? And when you blow the money on leverage trading, you lose it forever. You never get it back. It just coincided that happened in October when all the money stopped. Now, I can't prove this, It's a good theory, good story to tell around the table when you're having a few beers with your mates, but not a good story to tell when you're sitting there with your husband or your wife or with your children and they're asking what you've done with the inheritance money. All right, so let's carry on. We know that the 10th of December, at least one investor received $100,000 back and their initial investment back, along with dividends. So $179,000 was the exact figure they received back, 10th of December. Did you get any payments in December, November, October? That person was receiving 5% because I found out through some kind avenger that the new threshold was only 3%. More recently, within the last 7 days, another individual, someone with significant influence and the ability to cause serious trouble for the company, this could be you, also received their money back in full. Now, I don't know whether they got their dividends or just their initial investment, but they received their money back. So in the last 7 days, guys, people have been paid. So this MSB is eating the sock. Pixel eating the sock. These facts matter. They directly contradict the claim that payouts stop because of banking issues, MSB approvals, or technical constraints. This is a company that positions itself as operating in crypto, yet it's asking investors to believe that no payments are possible, while selectively making large payouts behind the scenes. Come on, guys. Do you want verification of that? That tells me several things. Funds can be moved when the company decides they need to. Payments are not being made based on contractual order or exit requests. Proximity, influence, and pressure appears to matter more than fairness. Doesn't matter where you are in the queue. Selective payouts are not a sign of stability. They are a sign of, I don't even know what that word is, but I know it's going to be a goodie.
Triage.
Triage. That sounds like this would be good for all the medical people that have invested, because this triage word is really for you. Deciding who needs to be calmed, who can be stalled, and who can be left waiting. So that's what they're doing, guys. They're just trying to work out that they're fudging this as far as they can. That's not how legitimate investments operations behave. It's not how companies behave. When it is managing risk to itself, when it is managing risk to itself, not meeting obligations to investors, and it makes every excuse about banking delays and MSB approvals, increasing. I can't read that. I'm tired.
Difficult to take seriously.
How people are brought into Goliath. This didn't spread through cold advertising alone. It spread through trust, and that distinction matters. Now, people often say to me, I just did I didn't read it all, but there was a 303-page report done on, crypto crime and how, unfortunately, the governments can't keep up with the change and how we need to go real time. I really believe in that, And I was talking to somebody about it, and I said, the whole scam world is all about trust. It is about talking to somebody until they trust what you say or they believe what you say. And that's how these scams get traction. People were handling the money to strangers. People weren't handling money to strangers. Sorry, I have to read it. I can't get it right.
People weren't handing money to strangers. They were introduced by people they already knew, people they trusted enough to believe, people they didn't think would ever put them in harm's way. That trust came through.
Yeah, now the person I was speaking to this morning, before they even opened their mouth, I said a couple of things. Did you receive Eric's email? And they went, yes. And I said, did you invest through Mike in Canada, I think? I don't know, it was Canada. Anyway, they said yes. And then I said, and who introduced you to it? Oh, a friend. That's what they said. And I said, so do you want to give me the friend's name? And I said, you don't? Well, you do. I said, did your friend receive a commission for introducing you into it? Or did they receive more of a percentage because they introduced you into it? And he said, yes. So that's the problem we have. and I said, so you want to protect your friend and you want to basically, so what I basically said, and I was a wee bit rude, I must admit. I said, do you want to protect your friend and forfeit your money? And they said, no. And I said, well, I'll need to know your friend's name. So this blog is going to give you a list of things that we can help you with. And this is a list that we've put together that we want you guys to complete. Now, what you can do, there's a couple of ways you can give it to us. And I'm sorry this is going to be a long blog, but hey, pretend this might save you $100,000. Okay, so trust come through friends and family member. Unfortunately, that's how these work. And that's their biggest protection of anyone reporting them. Romantic partners and close personal relationships, church groups and community networks. We know Chris went out to all the charities and pledged $2 million. He stood up in the White House at a dinner for Fentanyl Day held by Jackie Segal and pledged $2 million to give to the charity by the end of the year. Now, I'm pretty sure they'll be sweating thinking that money's not going to turn up. But that's what he pledged in front of Kash Patel. I don't know if Donald was there, but he paid $250,000 to get himself in the White House, so we heard. Not sure about the figure or how much, could be wrong, but that's what we heard, to be in attendance. Stood up like a monkey and pledged $2 million to Fentanyl Day to donate to the charity so that his voice could be heard. And I can't say some other stuff, but he thinks he's covered himself with the FBI. Let's just say that. So, long-standing social and professional connections. So he's got involved in all the charities. He's got involved in community networks. Ironically, photos come out on their social media claiming that they were in the White House for Crypto Day. So a week later, it was Crypto Day, and here's Christopher posting using the same photos, alleging that he was there for Crypto Day when he was there for Fentanyl Day. This is the guy that you trust. Now, even to take it down another step, all their social media has been scrubbed. Everything except 6 new videos that have been published but look like they're all done with Chris, but done with AI. Videos of claiming that they're building their headquarters in Florida when they've shut down the company. There's so many red flags here, I'm having a field day. So Christopher's scrubbed all their social media, made a whole lot of claims. Why would a legitimate company do that? That's why this situation cuts deep. Many payments stopped. Many people did not speak up because doing so felt like accusing someone close to them of being involved. The guy spoke to me today. I'm just using him as an example, but I had 4 people yesterday. Basically claimed that he would feel embarrassed and he doesn't want to be connected to Goliath Ventures in any which way or form, even though he's invested. And I said, what have you done wrong? You've just invested money in what looked like a legitimate investment. Why would that tarnish your reputation? In fact, it might elevate it because you spoke up. But these people are going, I don't want my name mentioned. I asked them if they wanted to be interviewed by one of the biggest reporters in the world. And they said, only if it's anonymous. I said, why do you want to be anonymous? Why don't you want to say, I looked at this company, it sounded plausible to me, and I invested in it. I were receiving some dividends, and then it stopped. And now I realize that the company was a fraud. Why don't you stand up for what you believe? And they don't. They don't want to. And I said, think about it. I can put you in touch with some massive influencers, and I've got a massive reporter that specializes in this sort of stuff, and he would love to talk to you and hear your story. Even if, what have we got?
Unintentionally.
Even if unintentionally you invest in this. Silence wasn't agreed. Did I read that? I might have already done that. So it says silent wasn't agreement.
Silence wasn't agreement. It was conflict avoidance, mixed with shame and hope that the problem would quietly fix itself.
Yeah, I've got no shame, they tell me. But while investors stayed quiet, something else happened. Many of the names that once promoted Goliath began to fade from view. So as I mentioned, all those people that we've got on the screenshot here, these names have all been now scrubbed from the website. Even though their names are here, we know these people have moved away. Titles were softened. We've now got a lawyer writing, a defense lawyer doing the correspondence for Goliath Ventures, and you're still happy to listen to that. Public profiles were cleaned, associations were quietly walked back, responsibility became harder to pin down just as questions become unavoidable. The money didn't disappear quietly, the people did. The contrast matters because it shows who absorbed the risk, who stepped away from it. Why coming forward now actually matters. Investigations do not move on opinions, anger, or online discussions. They move on evidence that can be checked, cross-referenced, and verified. What was changed in recent weeks is not the situation. What was charged in, oh, goodness me, I'm no good today.
Changed in recent weeks is not the situation.
I'm just going to remove somebody. Ban him, and get rid of him. Yeah. I'm just going to read it.
It's the quality of information now coming in. Instead of isolated stories, people are providing documentation that lines up across accounts and timelines. That's when patterns stop being deniable. The information that matters most includes.
Yeah, I mean, you probably don't realize the importance of this type of information, and this is why they're literally paying people off. So you could do one of three things. You could actually write them a letter of threat saying that you are going to blow the whistle. You could get paid. You can write to one of the lawyers that we've got in this Word document I'm about to show you, and they could basically calm the farm. They could relay messages back to Chris, and he would pay you to shut you up. I've seen it before, time and time again. Or you could just come to us with everything. And I've got the questions that we need, and then I will package this up. I'll do a video if you give me back-end access. I would recommend not doing an exit strategy until you give me back-end access of your advertising portfolio with Goliath Ventures, so I can record a video and screenshots and put it in your evidence package that I give the head investigators. So contracts and agreements, even if they were informal, correspondence, emails, that's what we want. Proof of payment, very important things. We can see the crypto addresses, bank transfers, whether you're with JB Morgan or whether with the Bank of America or Luminous Bank. I say that with laughter. Proof of payment, we want to know how you did it. Crypto wallet addresses, what you're instructed to do. We've got 3 videos on my YouTube channel, which you don't normally see. If I go to here, so we've got 3 videos of Mike, the Ferrari driver, shorts videos. I think they're here. Oh, have I got them there? Are they in shorts? Maybe they're shorts. Yep, here they are. So we've got these videos here of Mike.
Now, in order to get your wallet address to receive USDC, your monthly distributions, what you're going to do is hit transfer. So you hit home first and then transfer, hit receive crypto, click.
So these videos are very important to us. And here's a video of Mike showing people how to transfer money around. So we've got these videos and we've got full access to a lot of stuff like that. So wallet addresses and transaction hashes, we've gone through them all. For a company that's meant to be working in crypto, which I don't believe they are, there's nothing really for us to go on. There's no big pile of crypto sitting anywhere in any super wallet address that we can see. That would mean to me this is a straight Ponzi scheme. We've even, some of the biggest people that have been on Netflix who fight real big crypto crimes have had access to our crypto addresses, and we still can't find anything. So messages and emails, we want them all. Clear timelines showing when payments were stopped. We want that. Names of introducers, sponsors, and intermediaries. People like Eric. If he's been corresponding with you, we want to see that correspondence. 4 months, people waited on their own. That protected the company. What changed outcomes is people coming forward together. So we know that, I wouldn't say all the money's gone. Somebody said to me, oh, they've still got money. And I go, what, they're going to recover $30 million from Chris's houses and cars and repossessions? So that's not going to be enough to find $500 million worth of money that's gone AWOL. Christopher, in my opinion, will be hiding this money as smartly, as clever as he can. So when he comes out of prison, he'll have a wee nest egg. That's what people do in the criminal realm. With records that show the same explanations, the same delays, and the same, what have we got?
Contradictions repeating across different investors.
And we can see how desperate this company is getting right now, because what literally is happening is we're seeing the same excuses fed down the line. And even if I speak to someone who's new and they tell me they've been told this, I know where it feeds back to. And at the moment, it's kind of like we've got the audit, we've got the Danny's frozen the bank account excuse, we've got the MSB license excuse. All these excuses are coming to everybody now. It used to be just one excuse, whatever. What the intake progress is designed to do. Goliath Ventures Victims Intake Evidence Collection Form. Now, we've got the live version, which you can click on here, and this will take you to a document which I'm updating in real time. Now, this is what you want to do if you lost your money. And I know this is at the end of the video and you're probably tired of listening to me. Well, I'm tired of listening to me as well. Goliath Ventures Victim Intake Form. Before I can help you, I need to be very clear about how this works. I am receiving a large volume of messages and I simply don't have time to chase independent stories or vague claims. I need the hardcore facts. If you want me to take your matter seriously and bundle it for investigators, you must be prepared to answer the questions below and provide supporting evidence where possible. If you are not willing to do this, I cannot help you. And that's not personal, it's practical. Please answer all the following questions. So I want to know your full name. I've got one person that started corresponding me with one name and now it's changed to another name. But because they use the same email address, I realize it's the same person. Okay, I understand that. It's a pain in the ass. I create different folders for each individual person so I can find it quickly. And when I'm messaged by the investigators anything, I can just slide it into the Signal. We use Signal all the time. We need to know what country you reside in. Now, it was interesting the other day, we heard correspondence from Chris claiming that he hasn't got any investors in the UAE, which is quite interesting because we're hoping that there might be a disgruntled local UAE investor, but we heard that he hasn't got any investors. The date when you first got involved, the full name of the person that introduced you or sponsored you into Goliath, and it's critical. I know it might be a friend or somebody you know. It's not, you can't tell us it's a friend. We don't care about your name of your friend. I don't care. It's just helping us. It's a piece of the jigsaw puzzle that we need. We probably already have that piece. But we want to know, we're finding clusters of people with information that's really important to us. Their role or title as it was represented to you. Were you informed correctly? This will help you. Whether a director at the time or a partner services person, because they changed when Christopher told everyone to set up their own company. The initial amount you invested. We don't want to know how much you were promised. We want to know if you put $30,000 in and you got up to 50 and then you reinvested. I don't want to know. I want to know the initial amount you invested, the dates and the payment and how you paid. Any initial investments made later on. A lot of people have tested the water. One guy put in $1 million. He went back and put 15 million in. Okay, that's what people do. That's how all these scams work. You test it with $100, you go put 1,000 in because you put one lady thought she was entitled to 24,000. No, one lady thought she was entitled to $55,000. And then when she started doubting the platform, they deposited $200,000 into her fake crypto wallet. So now she's sitting there looking at $255,000. She put in $24,000 hoping that she would be able to withdraw the money. Every time she went to withdraw the money, they said, oh, you need a special license to withdraw money. It's called a blah, 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 go purchase it. Then she would need another license. She initially put $100 in. She withdrew $50 and got the money back home and then had trust. And then from that point forward, they kept topping up her account with money that she's theoretically got. And she finished up borrowing money from friends. She refinanced her vehicle, took out cash from her bank, and she's put everything into it. $24,000 from a $100 investment, thinking that she's got access to $255,000. That's how these scams work. So what I'm getting at here is a lot of people have put some money in, realized it was good, and then got more money, and then put that in. And that's how these scams work. They know you put $100,000 in, you still haven't taken your initial investment back, but you've gone and found more money and put it on top. They're still up on the ante, aren't they? And that's how they work. So you need to let us know when you first put your first investment in and whether you put any other money. How payments were made are very important. Like we know that Wise's Bank were really cool. So I could put Wise's. So this is a live document for me. Dashboard balance, third party, whatever it is. How much, if anything, have you actually received back to date? Did you hyper compound your money? Did you take out dividends? We want to know. Just tell us. You're not going to get in trouble. When payments stopped, approximate date, when you had requested an exit or terminate your account. If yes, what date? And if not, why not? Whether you were given a reason for non-payment. Not what excuse do they use? That's always interesting to us. Why does that piece not fix in the jigsaw puzzle, Danny? That's because there's no such thing as an audit. Do you have any copies of the following? Signed contracts and agreements, proof of payment, bank statements, confirmation, wire transfers, crypto hashtags, dashboard screenshots, emails, WhatsApp, telegrams, text messages from your sponsor or Goliath, exit or termination correspondence. We have it all, and they're all different. Well, they're not all different. They're all very similar, to be honest, but a lot of them, we like to see them. Are you willing to provide these documents, PDFs, or clear screenshots so we can build a proper evidence pack? Yes. Do you want to remain anonymous publicly? Yes, that's fine. We get it. I understand. I did give the guy a bit of pressure today, asking if he wanted to speak and squawk loud. He goes, oh, no, I'm very public. I don't want people to know who I am and what has happened. Are you willing to speak to investigators if they decide your case meets their threshold? Is there anything else you believe is important that hasn't been covered above? Let us know. So what you can do is you can come here, highlight the whole form, copy it into an email, and answer the questions in between 1 through to 18. Right, now the fun part. I want to be crystal clear about one thing. I cannot help people who want insider information, but don't want to provide the facts. Want to stay silent and hope a miracle payout. Want advice without accountability. Want me to do the work while they take no risk. I mean, it's all risky for all of us. Look at the risk I'm taking here. I've got guys that are knocking on my door of my house, offering me stupid money if I remove my videos and write a Dear John letter. I told them to stick the whatever up their ass, and I've got this all on video, and I will put it out after this fully explodes. I can't help people who are I can help people who are prepared to document what happened and let the evidence speak for itself. Don't be guilty. Don't feel horrible. Don't feel anything, guys, about what's happened. You've had professional scammers come to you and pitch you something that sounds pretty good. You've got friends that have also invested in the pretty good thing and they're getting dividends back. Why wouldn't you invest? Well, I can tell you 10 reasons now, and I'm sure you can tell me 20 reasons now. But at the end of the day, it's not something to be ashamed of. If you so basically you can read that yourself. Now, this is quite funny. Now, if you don't want my help, in the same document here, we have got, and this is publicly available information, YouTube, but I won't put it on the screen for too long because I'll probably get asked to take it off. But if you want to do your own complaints, I have actually put the lawyers. Now, this is really ironic. I'm going to put this here anyway. The lawyers that have been trying to lodge a lawsuit in Orange County against me that don't have any jurisdiction over a New Zealander are at 200 South Andrews Avenue, Suite 600. Okay? Eric Clayman, the person that's just represented himself as somebody who's a defense lawyer, is at 200 South Andrews, Suite 604. Can you believe that, guys? He's 4 doors down from the same lawyers that have been working for Goliath trying to shut me up, who have knocked on my door with their private investigators trying to offer me money. How intimidating do you think that is to me? Can you believe that? Do you realize the company that you've been investing in has sent people to knock on my door to offer me money to shut the F up? Can you believe that? And now you've received a letter from a defense lawyer who's 4 doors down from the other lawyers. So if you want to email these two lawyers demanding that they pay your money back, you can bet your bottom dollar they're in correspondence with Christopher. And that could be your way of getting your money back. So I'll put that there. And also, remember, I have email correspondence from Eric stating his position, and that was in the blog. So that document there is on the blog. So if you're watching this video and you think, boy, this guy can talk, and I'm really tired, by the way, you can click on the live updated version, or you can download the PDF version. That, obviously, I'm not going to update because I'm too busy. But the reason the Goliath Ventures Victim Intake and Evidence Collection Form exists for one reason: to turn shattered experiences into structured evidence that investigators can actually use. Look, I understand. The guy rang me up today. He said, everything's real bad at the moment. I can't afford this. I'm ashamed. I wish I never got involved. Is there any point going back and getting the money? All this stuff is just sad to hear. And it does actually get in my head. It's hard work. The questions are detailed because they need to be. Vague claims don't survive scrutiny. Incomplete stories don't move cases forward. Evidence does. This is time to collect the evidence. This is the time where people like Eric Clayman are thinking, oh, they won't get the money back because they haven't ticked all the crosses and dotted all the I's. Well, I can tell you that we have lots of I's on this, and we can tell you that form hasn't just been prepared by me. This is what people are asking for. People who are investigating want this information. If I can put together a nice, clear-cut one-pager with how much you deposited, where you're based, your contact details, I promise you that the head investigator will ring you personally and talk to you on the phone. If he doesn't, I'll fire him and I'll get another one. Okay. The form is designed to establish who was involved and when. The document, how the money was sent and how much. This is how they figure out where your money's gone. Record what was promised versus what was delivered. Now, you're going to be in breach of a contract from a company that actually shut them down. The 3rd of September, 2025, Goliath Ventures Inc. closed the company down. Okay? But that company shouldn't have been trading after that date. So if your contract was written by Goliath Ventures Inc. Florida, then what was promised, and that will mean that they have committed fraud. Well, they already have, but that there is going to help them. Who introduced to whom? That helps build the evidence chain, the map, the roadmap, the spider web. Built timelines that show what excuses changed payments being stopped. You can remain anonymous. It's not going to be publicly broadcasted, but the evidence has to exist. Silence without documentation only protects the people who caused the damage. Do you want to protect Chris? Do you want the pink flamingo that's holding Chris up in the picture I showed yesterday to protect Chris? Well, do you want to stab the pink flamingo and get rid of it? I'm going to actually bring that picture up. It's such a scream. I just did it yesterday, so it should be pretty handy. Let's have a look. Documents, downloads. Where is the floodgates have opened? Is it that one? That's it there. Look at this. There's Christopher and his pink flamingo, and the floodgates have opened, but he's still smiling. And just recently I heard from one of our informants that Christopher doesn't have a care in the world. He thinks he's protected by the US government at the moment. I'm just saying that. Probably said too much, but he thinks he's protected and he's good to go. Even though he doesn't want to be in Orlando anymore, he's now living in Dubai and spending $150,000 going to events when he's telling everyone else that money is frozen. His money's not frozen. He's got a big pile of your money. He's like Uncle Scrooge now, I'm sure. Okay, so nothing's guaranteed, no accountability. So, but nothing, what does it say? Providing information doesn't guarantee recovery, but doing nothing guarantees no accountability at all. Don't you want these guys to be held accountable? Do you really want to see videos of our boys driving, like, look at this here. So this is Mike, right? And here he is in his Ferrari, and he's driving on. He's just bought himself a new Ferrari in the last fortnight. Okay. And he was he's introduced what we believe 100 and maybe, well, I'm not going to guess. I don't need to guess. A lot, every time I get a phone call, it's 200,000, 100,000, 300,000. And here he is in his Ferrari driving, like a rich, like ABBA, money, money, money. So do you really want him not to be accountable, or do you quite happy for him to drive around in a Ferrari that you've paid for? What are we doing here? So let's see what we've got. Full intake from the blah, blah, reality check. A defense lawyer writing a claim, carefully worded email does not mean funds exist, payments are coming, problems are temporary. It means pressure is building and someone is trying to slow it down. Audits don't explain missing money. MBS applications don't justify non-payment. Legal language does not replace transparency. If the money was really there, it would already have been paid. It's quite simple. That is the question the email never answers. Now, it's really that simple, guys. If the money was there, you would have been paid. You're telling me that a crypto company can't figure out how to pay investors? Come on, wake up and smell the coffee. Now, on the bottom of this blog, I have actually still left the recovery WhatsApp group. You can go in there. We will scrutinize you before we add you into the group, but you click on that banner and you can go into the recovery group that we've set up. Recovery does not mean funds. It's a WhatsApp group. We're just making it there so people can set up accounts and come and chat to us. That's really nice. As I've said previously, this is my 27th blog and 27th main video, a big video I've done, exposing these people. Previously in this series, so we looked at the contracts, they were crap. They said they had a compliance. It was an illusion. They said that we were trying to run a smear campaign for whatever reason. They actually said that we were jealous. They had a bookkeeper, Nadia Bringas. I'm sure you've dealt with her. She was a bookkeeper running a company that's turned over $500 million. She actually works for Harry Samuels, and he's been setting up all these LL companies for everything. So Nadia Bringas, you might think she works for Goliath. She actually works for Harry Samuels. It's on his website. Fake audit, we talked about that now and previously. That was done by Matt Burke. Missing FinCEN registration. Anyone, Matt Burks, Pierce Curry, they don't have licenses to handle money. They aren't licensed. They have no FinCEN registration. Clawbacks, how that works. You might be sitting pretty thinking, oh, I got out in time. I made money. Well, we've got you on the persons of interest list. If your names come up in any WhatsApp group, any Instagram group, we've got you. If you're friends of Christopher on Instagram, I had somebody tell me the other day that they were suddenly removed from Chris's Instagram account. And I go, oh, really? That's interesting. But yeah, he's trying to cull out people who he believes feeding us information. However, if you are friends of Christopher's Instagram group, we have access to it, even though I don't. My Avengers do. And they are going through and they're looking at all your photos of all the things that you've done. And if we find you at an event with Christopher, traveling with Christopher, or whatever you're doing with Christopher, even going to a dinner or having a farting competition with Christopher, we're going to put you on the persons of interest list. Okay, unregistered security problem. Are your contracts legal? No, they're not. What a real financial company would look like. Well, I can tell you how they won't be acting, like this one. Stolen money and gifts. So people that have been benefiting from association with Goliath Ventures, we did a whole series on that. We've got photos of the FBI Director Kash Patel, Ron DeSantis, Andrew Tate. At one point, somebody said, Ron's going to ring you up and talk to you, Danny. I go, oh, that sounds cool. Andrew Tate, we showed you the involvement with Andrew Tate. Then they tried suing me, a journalist, sued for telling the truth and reporting the facts to shut me up instead of answering my questions. Well, that was a really, really, really good one. 3 copyright strikes. We've actually had 4 that came in from Goliath Ventures. All of those have been overturned and we've been awarded those videos back because it's lies. Since I've been recording this, doing this series, my website had 2 months worth of denial server attacks. That means they were hammering my website to bring my website down for 2 months solid. They've finally given up. Google Project Shield now looks after my website and puts a barrier between my website and the real world. 4 copyright strikes from Goliath Ventures now. 10 copyright strikes since I've been covering this series. Not all of them from Goliath Ventures, but it's a dirty trick that people report my videos to. Crypto crash, $380,000 lost in a day in crypto. Sorry, $380 billion lost in a day in crypto. Goliath Ventures said they didn't even blink. A 22-page motion to dismiss. We've got that motion to dismiss on this here. We've filed a motion to dismiss to the Florida court saying they don't have any jurisdictions over me out of politeness. And they are still filing paperwork only to intimidate people. Quite amazing if you want to go in there and read that one. Somebody was ringing us up telling us they were alleging because they spoke to us, they are a whistleblower. At the end of the day, we interviewed that person and they were more of an opportunist. It was an interesting story, so we did a blog about it. Banking breakdowns. They said they switched banks because the Bank of America couldn't sustain the growth of Goliath Ventures Inc. That was the excuse they used. These excuses don't hold up anymore. So in here, we found out that they actually have been begging for banks to take them on, because we have been writing to all the banks and asking them to review why they've got Goliath Ventures as a client, and they have used our information and shut down these banks, and now they're claiming that the reason you're not getting paid out because Danny the Heck froze the account. I've actually had some idiot from Canada send a very aggressive video telling me I'm responsible for him investing in Goliath Ventures and him losing all the money. If I didn't shut down the bank account, he wouldn't have lost his money. I didn't shut down the bank accounts. I just reported the banks. They froze the accounts. Then we've got another one, which I really do like, and Stephen Davis. Stephen Davis paints himself as a hero. And often I go into this. This is Stephen Davis while I'm actually sitting on Stephen Davis's car. But if you go into this video, you'll actually see a video of Stephen Davis here has actually publicized himself in this magazine called The Business Insider. And here he is sitting there in front of his car, looking like the man about town. And this was a published article in the Business Insider magazine. But the sponsored article, what happened to it? Well, you guessed it, it has hopefully still been removed. It's still got the link, and it's temporarily unavailable because even they lost their nerve about publicizing about Stephen Davis and his hero article about him being a fire chief. It's ridiculous. Okay, so Goliath Ventures has now collapsed. Payments stopped. We wrote about that. This was number 20. Andrew Tate, Hyperliquid Wipeout. You want to read about that. I believe this is where Goliath actually lost the real money. If you're wondering where your money is, go see what Andrew Tate did with his money. Read about it. Goliath Ventures December breakdown. This is really, really bad. This is where he was telling people that everything was okay and everything's going to be back to normal. Tomo started doing a campaign when Vince Goliath left. Goliath was telling everyone, well, Tomo, was it Marjanovic, whatever his name is, he was telling everyone to remain strong. What type of company needs to remain strong who's legitimate? But anyway, because people were starting to leave Goliath Ventures and put in their resignation, Tomo just started to do a campaign. And now what's Tomo doing? Well, the rest is history, isn't it? Oh, there is the one. So what was the 23rd one about? I'm confused now. Crypto breakdown. Investors must know. Victims facing mountain pressure, collecting funds. I don't know. This is where some people were getting paid and some people weren't getting paid. But on the 15th and 18th letter was really the one that really took me. This was really gutting for me. But to send out a newsletter on the 2nd of December telling everyone that payments are going to resume just before they spent $5 million on an event celebrating how successful they were, it was a real slap in the face to anyone that's associated with Goliath Ventures. 24th, broken promises, vanishing transparency, accountability looms. That was that blog. The calm before the storm. Everyone's waiting. A story of control delayed and retreat. Goliath Ventures Inc. deleted video. That's right. So here they wrote this video. If we go back to, what have we got? Go back to the website here. We had this video come out on one of the shorts. And the video was Christopher here posted this video. Only lasted 4 hours on the
It'll be a
internet.
massive year for us. We have a proven method and model that's been tried and true through some of the biggest crypto collapses in the industry, bigger than the stock market. So for us, we've gone through every battle. We've won every war. We invested $8.5 million in downtown Orlando, purchasing almost 13,000 square feet in the Chase building. And we're excited because
So that video lasted 4 days. The floodgate was removed. This guy was, and then
we invested $8.5 million in downtown Orlando, purchasing almost 13,000.
What we found is that we actually received anonymous videos from somebody who went into this $8.5 million complex and showed what the reality was. And this was on the 14th of January. Yeah, that's right, just a few days ago. So here's the inside of the building. So this is what we're getting. You're getting mixed reports. We get all sorts of reports. Withdrawals failed, deposits replaced with whatever we got. You get the idea. Anyway, so this was today's video, number 28 video. So how I do all my investigations, open source intelligence. If you don't know who I am, I have been featured in the 2-page spread in the printed edition of the New York Times. They did a Bloomberg documentary about one of the scams I was going. I was majorly featured in that. I've been in the Guardian newspaper, Indian News, Radio New Zealand, and also ABC News. And one of my nicest comments was news.com.au profiled me as one of the leading scam busters in the world. Sorry, not the world, in Australasia, which is Australia, New Zealand, and all the surrounding little wee islands. Nice to see you in here, Rob. I don't know what you're doing in here. Contract me, climb up pyramid, tell your friends. More on scenery. Interesting. I think I'm pretty much done. I've been here for 2 hours and 10 minutes of my life. I'll never get back. I woke up this morning, hit the ground about 7 o'clock. I checked my phone. I started reading messages from people saying I received this overnight. I'd already received Eric's email. I'd already sent Eric a email asking him to verify whether he was the person that sent it. I also sent Eric a message just before I went live, suggesting that he potentially he comes on this live and perhaps mans up and actually comes on my live. I've also sent that to Christopher. What I'm getting from anything to do with anyone that's associated with Goliath Ventures is calm the farm messages. No one wants to speak to us. They want to send newsletters. Now, just to recap what's happened here, a mailing list that was shut down by Goliath Ventures has been relit up. And all of a sudden, a lawyer that is the defense attorney, lawyer, I don't know what you call them, has now written a letter on Chris's behalf and sent it out to everyone on the mailing list, basically telling people that they're having problems with a MSB license, which is a load of rubbish. But then we showed you on the FinCEN website that they are saying that scam companies are using these licenses as an excuse to commit fraud. I'm not saying, well, I am saying that, aren't I? Well, there's no doubt in my mind that Christopher is running a fraud, one of the largest Ponzi schemes in Florida. So I'm sorry that you've lost your money. Now, if you want to do something about it, go to the description of this video, find the link to the blog, and in there you can download the PDF. If you want to remain anonymous, you probably haven't got a paddle. And was it you paddling a boat up a stream without a river? I don't know. But anyway, if you want to remain anonymous, that's your call. If you don't want to dob your friend in who's made more monthly dividends because he introduced you into it, that's your business. But if you really want to go after someone who's just stole $100,000, $200,000, $1 million from you, I'm the man. I'm the guy that's talking to the head investigator. I'm the one that's been talking to government departments and Microsoft Zoom meetings. What are they called? Microsoft Team meetings. I don't like Microsoft, just saying. No offense, Bill. You're all good. Reach out to me. I'm here to help you. If you want to donate, somebody generously threw $50 at me before. I really appreciate that. The guy that rang me this morning, I was halfway through putting together this blog, and all of a sudden I realized I'd missed a Calendly appointment reminder. And, and I said to him, you want my help? You bypassed the part that says donate to me. but you want to engage with me. I said, imagine going to a lawyer and said, I want your advice. I don't want to pay you for it. But I do think that's quite funny. And I am a bit taken back by that. But if you come to my website and you click on appointments, you can go and make an appointment via Calendly. And I have this thing called an express chat. It costs me $15 US a month to actually have a paid version of Calendly. My last donation before this live was for 25 coffees. Thank you very much. From one of my Avengers. Thank you. That paid my car registration. And what else do I get? My car registration and my warrant of fitness. That money. That was the last donation I received. And today I got a new member, somebody joined my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. That's very kind. Mike J. Lucky. And also I received a super super chat for $49.99. Thank you so much. That was really kind. And then somebody's come here and they've decided to click on here and booked some of my time. And here it says that there's a Koha-based contribution where I ask people if they want to, they can donate $50 to me, which is very nice for my time. 90% of people seem to not read that. Maybe I should put that higher. And I've got to be true to myself and true to people. I'm not doing it for the money. I don't really care about money, but unfortunately, I need money. When you click on Koha, you can see I currently have 34 supporters who have actually donated through that system. I do have this thing where I'm funding 50 full scam investigations. And what that normally means is I will actually investigate. So I've got 20% of my goal for $10,000. I've received $2,000 of money from people since, and this wasn't set up for Goliath, but this is just, I'm just giving this an example. Now I think I saw a donation come in here before, which is really, really nice, as well as one which I haven't seen. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Oh, Charlie, that's another Avenger has donated to me. So there must be more people in the world. None of my Avengers have invested in Goliath Ventures, but they're the ones that support me. The other one that's quite nice, if you are on my website, there is buying me a cup of coffee. And this is how you can shower me. And I hate asking for money. And this one here is where I used to get all my donations from. Then one day, somebody reported my Buy Me a Cup of Coffee account, and I lost it. And it took me 3 months to convince them I'm not a scammer, and I'm actually a good person doing stuff. So I lost my main source of income, which was this. So you can come along to here and you can buy a $5 a month, what I call a scam sniffer account, or a digital sleuth that pays $10 a month, or a Ponzi slav for $15 a month. And that's via Buy Me a Cup of Coffee. Now, just before I went live today, I published this blog. So you can see here that I published the very blog that you're looking at in my Buy Me a Cup of Coffee section, and it gets emailed to your doorstep. And then people can click here and they can watch me for $15 a month. And that's, there it is. And that's how I roll, guys. Now, I don't get YouTube dollars. I don't get many people looking at my YouTube channel. In fact, I get about $300 or $400 a month from my YouTube videos. And that's kind of how I roll. Now, if I get rich and famous, I probably won't tell you guys. But there will be signs. But I don't care if I don't make a cent out of doing this Goliath Ventures thing. But what I do care about is you guys letting your $100,000, your $200,000, your $1 million disappear. Don't do it. Fight back. Let me help you. I'll put together a pack for the head investigator with all your information in a format that they like. The first person that we put to our investigators decided it would be a good idea to send 20 emails to the agents. Don't. The agents come back and said, stop, stop, stop. we don't want your emails. And then they go, oh, I'm sorry, because they were embarrassed. It's not every day, you know. I know how these government agents want their information delivered. I'm just offering to help you. Don't donate. It's fine. I won't ask you for money. I hate asking for money, but I do need money if you want to give me some money because you've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars and I'm probably your only shot at getting it back. Okay. But I can put it together in a way where it can be presented nicely. I promise you, you give us the information, and they have promised me that they are going to physically talk to people on the phone and help them. WhatsApp group. Anyway, that's my message. I'll see you in the next video. All right. I don't know. Do I answer this message? What's the time? 3 o'clock. I can't do an Avenger call. I've just got my Avengers ringing me and I want to take the call, but I'm live. Yeah. All right, guys. That's me. I hope you enjoyed the video and we'll see you guys in the next video. If you do reach out to me, I will keep it anonymous if you want. I'm not here to broadcast you, but please do not do nothing. See you in the next video. Don't let time be your enemy.